Welcome, everyone, to the Everything Show, episode 951. I am your host, Matrix Lord 212, and I'm with Chris. What's up, Chris?
What's up, everybody?
Okay, I'm beginning to think that we have some Doctor Who fans that are writers in Marvel Comics. Sometimes that's a good thing. Sometimes that's not a good thing. In this case, it doesn't really have anything to do with Doctor Who, but the name in particular is telling. You know how we were complaining, Chris, about many Everything shows that Marvel has too many of a superhero, like too many Iron Mans, too many Captain Americas, too many Spider-Mans, too many Hawkeyes, all in the same universe at the same time?
Yes.
Okay. And remember how we were talking about in this fall, everything's going to turn back to normal, supposedly.
Yeah, for the most part anyway. Yeah.
Well, it looks like even if it does turn back to normal, we are going to be left with a third Thor. So we're going to have...
So wait, now hold on. This is spoilers for the upcoming Thor comic. If you want to read it.
Spoilers, yes.
Stop watching now. If not, we're going to go into it.
Yes, I'm going to put it in the title so we can save us. So it turns out that it's kind of hard to have a name when Thor is his real name, and they call him Odin's son because he's Odin's son, which is stupid, but okay. And Jane Foster, they don't call her She-Thor, so they call her Thor. So it's like, hi Thor, hi Thor, Thor. So they don't want to call the third Thor, Thor. Hello, Steampunk Starraisin. We're in the Everything Show. How are you, sir?
Hello?
Hi, we're in the Everything Show. How are you?
I'm okay. How are you?
All right, bro. So we were just talking about Marvel Comics' new hero. And it turns out that they're going to have, I guess, Thor that we know, I guess is going to somehow get the original hammer. I guess the She-Thor, which is called Thor, is going to get another hammer. And this Thor is going to have the ultimate hammer, but he kind of looks like Odin being Thor. And they're going to call him the War... the War Thor.
Okay.
So do you get, Chris, you want to repeat kind of what I want to... translated if I kind of screwed it up a little bit? I mean...
No, you're right.
Yeah.
I'm actually pretty sure that this is Odin, actually.
Okay. But
why wouldn't he just be called Odin? Why would he be Thor then? That doesn't make any sense.
I mean, is he powerless? Maybe?
It doesn't say in this article.
Could we screen share that picture? You have the picture?
No, because when you go on it, there's a video that plays.
Okay. All right. We're going to have to show that. Let me see if I can. And there's no way I could do it either, right?
Unless you do it before the video starts. Or you save the picture or something.
Let me just try to see if I can get it quick.
But honestly, if I could just say while you're doing that.
Yeah.
Does this really surprise you?
Well, it kind of does because I thought that we were getting rid of this nonsense.
No, I didn't think that they were ever going to completely do it. I think some of the characters are going to be restored, but I don't think that they're going to do all of them because why would they at this point? They have no reason to. I mean, yeah, their sales are going down, but at this point, I don't really think that's high on their list anymore, apparently, if they're going to do stuff like this.
Marvel makes more of their money now off of movies than they do their comic books.
Yeah.
Comic books are secondary. They almost have comic books just to support the movies. That's the reason why Marvel apparently is killing off all the X-Men and pushing Inhumans as a replacement for X-Men.
You know what I'm going to do? I figured out...
Well, they actually had to stop doing that because it didn't work.
No, it was making people mad, and it was reducing their readership even more.
You guys could talk for a second. I'm going to try to take a picture of it, Chris,
on
my phone and send it to you.
Now do any of you guys watch Star Wars Rebels?
Yes.
Okay. The last episode, I would say it was probably the best episode of Star Wars Rebels ever.
Really?
I hated that last episode.
Really?
Yes.
I really liked it. The final showdown between Darth Maul and Ben Kenobi. I mean, it had been in Star Wars Legends in the comic book, and they did a different. Disney did a different take on it. I know the big complaint that a lot of people had, and I agree that I wish it had been a two-parter, and it should have had a little bit more depth to it than just one 22-minute episode.
Yep.
But I would say it was probably the most realistic Sith Jedi fight that I have seen in Star Wars yet. It only lasted like 4 seconds, but I mean, I always wondered, like in the Phantom Menace, it almost looked like they were dancing. It's like, why are they dancing around like that? Why aren't they getting to the meat of it and trying to decapitate each other or stab each other through the chest? Why is it taking so long, and why does it look like they're dancing? This seemed more realistic, like what a real fight would be like. Okay, a guy charges, but then he doesn't realize he's left himself vulnerable and gets stabbed right through the chest. And I thought it was interesting, Darth Maul's, well, and he just now refers to himself as Maul, but Maul's madness, he had pretty much used to be a powerful Sith Lord, and he'd given up everything for his obsession for revenge against Obi-Wan Kenobi. And Obi-Wan Kenobi had apparently learned a lot from his isolation in the desert and just had calm repose with it. And I loved all the references to the New Hope. And I liked how when when Maul was dying in Ben Kenobi's arms, it was almost like they were best friends. And it revealed something new, too, in the Star Wars mythology. Apparently, Anakin Skywalker wasn't the chosen one. Apparently, it was Luke Skywalker.
No, it's still Anakin.
But Maul asked, but it's curious, though, because Maul asked, because he's obviously Force sensitive, and he's able to read some of Ben Kenobi's emotions, and, he realizes that,
why did they say that?
Because Obi-Wan and Yoda didn't know that Anakin was still the chosen one. They thought it was either going to be Luke or Leia, because they didn't know that Anakin was going to do what he did in Return of the Jedi, where he killed Palpatine.
Yeah, but this is after. Himself. But this is after. Oh, you talking about Revenge of the Sith?
No. I mean, in Return of the Jedi.
Oh, they didn't.
They thought that either Luke or Leia was going to be the chosen one, but then when Anakin did it, that's when they realized it was always him.
Okay. Right. I still thought it was kind of emotionally touching how as Maul was dying, they were chatting like they were friends. It was interesting how there was a similar dilemma in the movie Watchmen where the comedian he has more in common with his enemies than he does other superheroes that he fights alongside with, because he's so corrupt and so dark. He's become just like the villains that he's fought. It wasn't quite the same with Obi-Wan Kenobi, but Obi-Wan Kenobi apparently, as Maul was dying, did show him some compassion. And I thought it was interesting how Maul was like, he'll revenge us. But yeah, and I like the dialogue between Kenobi and Maul. He was like, perhaps I should just leave you here in your squalor. But then he senses something. He realizes that Obi-Wan Kenobi's there Ben Kenobi's there for a mission. And I just love the madness of Maul, how he was going through the desert on a quest, an obsession, and he had lost everything. He'd lost his brother, Saval Opress. The one big mystery that they never really answered in Rebels, I will say this: there's a lot of gaps in Maul's history, because there was the last episode of Clone Wars where Maul, the Emperor detects a disturbance in the Force, and he realizes Maul is a competitor Sith, and abiding to the rule of two, decides to kill Darth Maul and his apprentice, Saval Opress. And he makes quick work of Saval Opress, and then it takes him maybe about a minute longer to fight off Darth Maul, because Darth Maul is a much better fighter than Saval Opress. But then he even overcomes Darth Maul, but instead of killing him, he electrocutes him, and then he says, the Emperor, Darth Sidious says, "I've got another purpose for you." And it cuts to black, and they never get picked up after that. After the next episode,
they actually did. There's a comic book called Son of Dathomir that
Oh,
explains
okay.
everything that happens. In that comic, he does get away from the Emperor for a little bit, and he finds his mother, Mother Talzin, who's the leader of the Night Sisters, and she's there. I believe she captures Count Dooku because Dooku was still alive at the time, and then Palpatine and Grievous show up, and they kill Mother Talzin, and Maul escapes, and somewhere in between there, he winds up on Malachor, and that's when we pick up with him in Rebels.
Oh, okay. Well, that's why I never read the comic, so I didn't know that.
I'm going to screen share the. If I can, well, Chris, could you do it or not? You can't.
Yeah, I could probably do it.
All right.
So you didn't like it because you thought the fight was too short? Well, why didn't you like it?
Well, let me just screen share this, and then we'll
let's
go
just
back
get this
to it.
done. This is
Hold
the
on.
War Thor. The War Thor.
Hold on 1 second.
Which, they're probably Whovians, the Marvel Comics guys.
The War Thor, yeah, I just
War
got that.
Thor, yeah.
All right, so there's that.
That's the War Thor, and it looks like Odin with one eye has the hammer. That's what it looks like. And Odin's always worthy because he's the one that made it possible for the hammers to be in existence, I guess. So, even if he's not worthy, he's worthy, I guess.
I'm going to be honest, I think that actually looks pretty cool.
It does. But he would have to be depowered in order for it to need the hammer. I would think, no? He wouldn't need a hammer if he's Odin.
Unless it's not Odin. I just think it does look like him, so it's probably him.
So there's our not War Doctor, War Thor. I also want to say something else that's really funny. Now, on my break, one of my breaks, there was this thing on TV, the old General Hospital soap. And you know how Batman has Arkham Asylum?
Yeah.
They called theirs Darkham Asylum. All the bad guys. And I'm like, oh, there's such a bunch of copycats. Darkham Asylum. I was like, what?
On General Hospital, they're doing a crossover.
Darkham Asylum.
So they're doing a crossover with Batman on General
Hospital?
No.
They just stole the name Arkham and put D in front of it.
Yeah, I'd watch that crossover.
Right. Imagine? Damn. Rapidly aged kids. It's almost like they're mutants anyway.
Basically.
That's what they do. There's actually a famous term for that when they just don't want the baby to be a baby anymore, but they want the mother to be the same age, which she gets 100 husbands, but the baby is a teenager all of a sudden. That's what they do on soaps. I don't know why, whatever. But anyway.
I'm so disappointed with the DC movies. I really wish that they had used the TV shows as a framework because the TV shows are so much better.
Right. Well, now we got Mary Jane month coming up. And I guess this is a way for Marvel to make some money. And they figured that Mary Jane is going to be as popular as Gwen when they made Gwen on every single cover of every single comic variant. So we're going to have Mary Jane as Doctor Strange, Mary Jane as Spider-Man, Mary Jane as Venom, Mary Jane as the Hulk, Mary Jane as everybody. And I have a feeling that's not going to be as popular.
They could have clones of Mary Jane.
Gwen Stacy was a different thing entirely. There was a craze. There's still a craze for Gwen Stacy. So I don't really think that's going to work.
Well, they could clone Mary Jane and give her adamantium claws.
Well, we got the Hulk that's getting adamantium claws. And he's called Hulkverine, which is really stupid. Or maybe he's not going to be called that because that's a dumb name.
I don't know. Hulk. There's a new version of the Hulk, I think, but it's not Bruce Banner or something.
There's the Hulk that's going to be a clone. Then where's my comic? My $10 Spider-Man comic. Yes, it's $10.
Well, I like clone stories because you know me, I have a
fascination with clones. Dr. Octopus now, superior Dr. Octopus, and Ben Reilly's coming back as Scarlet Spider.
Neato.
From goo and dust, which, you know, if you watch it, if you read it, you'll, I guess, figure it out what. So we got the War Thor. We got Captain America as a Nazi Hitler person. We got a clone of Wolverine and Hulk put together, like Hulk and Wolverine made a baby. It's a mixture.
Well, Captain America apparently is an undercover Hydra agent. But yeah, I guess it's the same thing.
And well, he's not on the cover. He's really evil, like thinking he's evil because of the Cosmic Cube. Now, we also have Magneto, who's joining Hydra, which absolutely makes no sense because Hydra is like the Nazis. So
I have a prediction that they're going to find out that this is like a clone of Captain America, and he's like a genetically engineered clone, and then the real Steve Rogers is like frozen on ice somewhere.
Well, there was another thing, if I can get to the article fast enough. There was a list of all Marvel Comics that's being canceled. And the list is extensive.
I'm not surprised. Their readership is way down. Marvel's business model with switching to digital is not very smart. They want to charge $5 per comic for a digital copy when I can just buy a tangible copy. Why would I pay $5 for a digital copy when I can just buy a tangible copy? I mean, the only way they're going to increase their sales, I mean, I understand that it's expensive to print colored pages and
that book I just showed you was a $10 comic.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I know it's expensive to print color pages and the staples and the paper. Paper has gone up really high in recent years, but they're paying their artists and their writers way less. A lot of them now just do comic books as a part-time job. I know this from firsthand source because I interviewed Chris Claremont, famous writer for X-Men. He still writes for, I think, Nightcrawler, and it's on my YouTube channel. And I interviewed him at a comic book convention. I also interviewed Bob Layton, who quit comic books altogether. This is the guy who co-created Iron Man because he wasn't getting paid royalties through Marvel. They were using all of his art to promote the Iron Man movies, and he was really bitter about it. And I did a 7-minute interview where he talks about how he's bitter with working with comics, and the reason why artists are leaving comics, and like famous artists like Bob Layton, which he's gone to just screenwriting for movies. Right. It's because their readership is way down. And Chris Claremont said he doesn't know the solution to that, but yeah, he was talking about Chris Claremont, the writer, a famous writer for X-Men, talked about how the 60s was the peak for comic books. In the 60s, a best-selling issue would sell millions of comics. Today, you're lucky if you could sell 30,000.
Well, I want to get into the story, actually. The
Oh, sure, go ahead.
Because it is extensive. We have, and again, I'm very happy about this, Chris, as you know, because the one character I can't stand is the Ghost Driver, called Ghost Rider. I'm really glad.
Rider's pretty cool.
That one is not cool. That is not cool. That
one's not cool, but
yeah, and they don't have. This is the wrong article. They don't even have the one thing, but there was a lot of books. We're gonna have to cover that on another cast. I have to find the actual article. But Ghost Rider is canceled for the second time. The new Ghost Rider, and that's a good thing because it's getting really garbage. But there's a way bigger list. I mean, I'm talking over 11 books that are just done. All right? Done. And it's USA Avengers. I did not pick that up. I refused to pick that up. And I told you, Chris, that thing was sitting on the shelves. Okay?
What's USA Avengers about?
Well, Marvel decided to have this huge gimmick, and they decided to have a hero for every state and label it that this hero represents this state. That was also a way for them to have 50 variant covers.
So they're trying to sell more copies.
50 variant covers. That is the biggest failure probably going to be in history when it's done recording. That nobody gave a shit about. They even created a superhero just for the USA Avengers. They created a different Red Hulk. Not the Red Hulk, because Red Hulk is dead, I guess. So there's another Red Hulk now, and it's a different guy. And I think he died, too. I'm not sure. And they also had Luke Cage and Jessica Jones' daughter from the future that is Captain America, which is a joke because there's too many Captain Americas now as well. So, again, I can't wait for Marvel to clean house and just stop making extras of everything because it's getting ridiculous.
Well, the one thing I was trying to get to the point of is I think Marvel could, if they just switch to mostly digital and reduce the digital price to like $2 a copy instead of $5 a copy, then that would be enticement for more fans to read more comics because they're like, okay, I won't buy the printed copy. I'll buy the digital because it's cheaper. But when they price the digital the same price, I think they're shooting themselves in the foot. Nobody's going to want to do the, why buy, and that's what I'm saying. I just think it's too expensive for a digital copy. Digital copies, as we all know with computer technology, don't really cost that much to replicate, and I think that's a very flawed business model, and that's the problem is it's Marvel's become too corporatized. They've forgotten their roots. They've forgotten that they need to keep comics reasonably priced so that people, they're already paying their artists, their letterers, their writers a fraction.
Everybody's underpaid. They should be paid more.
Well, no, but they've actually cut their wages in the last 20 years. A lot of, like I said, Bob Layton left because he couldn't afford to work for Marvel anymore. And then and he was also embittered that he just wasn't getting paid that much. I met, at comic book conventions, I met several people who were letterers as a part-time job. Used to be a letterer as a full-time job. But now that because Marvel only pays like $15 a page, you're making about minimum wage to be a letterer.
It's really pathetic what's going on. But we're gonna do more on this on another cast when I'm more prepared because I actually can't find the article now. We do have some box office stuff that I could tell you really quick before the time runs out. We don't have it yet, but Kong Skull Island currently stands at $266 million, and that's as of Tuesday. And Beauty and the Beast, oh my God, right, Chris? What a monster! Beauty and the Beast is like eating up the box office. It has in $428 million. $428 million. Now Logan is well over 500 million. It's 527 million. And one of my new favorite movies, Get Out, has an 139 million and still growing. And if I just could say what Split has done, Split has made $257 million on a $9 million budget. So that's a quick box office thing. Of course, we're going to have the Power Rangers, right, Chris, this week? Is it this week? Power Rangers, Chips.
Yeah. It's actually tomorrow.
Yeah. Oh, tomorrow night?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Power Rangers tomorrow and Chips, and there's a few other ones. But I think Power Rangers, of course, is going to be number one. They said 5 sequels, right?
Well, depending on what this movie does.
Everybody's sequel happy ever since Ridley Scott is ready to pop out sequels. People are like, yeah, 5 sequels. I'll take 5. Yeah. Remember like Chris when they announced with the Transformers way in advance? Yeah, because of the success of this movie, we're going to make like 3 more Transformer movies.
Well, yeah, they projected that the other ones are going to do really well too. So.
Yeah, and if one of them don't, then that plan goes out the window.
I don't think so, to be honest with you. I think they've made so much money off of it that they're just going to do it anyway. That's one of those weird franchise, exceptions that's like, well, even if it doesn't do well.
Right. And they still want to do a G.I. Joe vs. Transformers eventually, I heard.
I think that'll be terrible because G.I. Joe movies were terrible.
Yeah. Now, you want to talk about the casting for Cable? The new news?
Oh, yeah. Who was it? Michael Shannon is apparently the front runner for the part.
General
Zod from Man of Steel. Yeah.
And if you've been watching the Everything Show, it's called Marvel versus DC Rivalry, where each of them take an actor from another movie's, whatever. And I'm telling you, that's a real thing. There's so much evidence. So, Marvel gets theirs on now, and they go with General Zod. Not happy. They're not happy. They weren't really going to do anything with J.K. Simmons anyway as the Joe John James. It was a new universe, but they lost also what's her name? Green Goblin there. Oh my God, Chris, help me out here.
Who?
The guy that plays Green Goblin.
Willem Dafoe?
Thank you. Yeah, he's going to be in Justice League. So it's back and forth. Also,
he's the Green Goblin. Jesus Christ!
Marvel nabbed Lex Luthor.
Yep.
For Guardians of the Galaxy. So Marvel gave a nice finger to them, and it's back and forth. Why is it that no other actors are being chosen? It's only like we're taking this one. It's literally that's what's happening, and nobody's saying anything about it. Nobody's making a story about it, but it's true though. It's like almost as if Marvel is a living person and DC is a living person, and it's like a chessboard, like how they could one up each other, basically. You know, and I don't think that
corporations kind of form what I would term as almost a communal or hive mind and like intelligence. Corporations are very similar to the Borg. They're cold, emotionless, but they think of things, they process things in a hive mind like mentality. And it may not make logical sense on the surface level, but there's a certain agenda that benefits the hive mind.
Makes you wonder what's going to happen next. Who is DC going to get now? Because it's a basic like a game. That's all it is. They're going to grab somebody. So, you know, and Marvel even did it to themselves. They even, to try to stop 20th Century from doing Fantastic Four movie, they grabbed Michael B. Jordan. Remember, Chris?
Yeah.
The sequel? They're a bunch of, you know, they're like, oh, okay.
Well, I mean, but to be fair, Michael B. Jordan, who starred in Fantastic Four, that movie flopped. So if it had been successful, I think he was in contract for like 3 films.
Well, they for some reason, Chris and Steampunk, they still have a thing, even though it's not on the schedule, that they're going to do a Fantastic Four sequel.
Yeah, but there was an announced Fantastic Four sequel, and then they delayed it, and then I think
they still have the rights till when, Chris? 2021?
Oh, I have no idea how long they have the rights to.
They have to do a movie before 2020, or else they lose it.
I mean, it was mediocre. I mean, I don't think it was as bad as people said it was.
Oh,
but
it was horrible, dude. Let me tell you something.
Well, I saw it.
It was horrible.
I saw it in theaters because I was just curious to see why people were saying it was so bad. I mean, I would give it a 5 on a scale of 1 to 10. I mean,
I would give it a 1. Not even a 1.
Well, I mean, Doctor Doom was
horrible.
They were doing like the ultimate version of Fantastic Four, but the problem was Doctor Doom was portrayed terribly. You know,
did you see the story that came out where the guy that played the villain in Doctor Strange, he went for audition for Fantastic Four, and they asked him ridiculous, stupid shit, and he walked off set, like for auditions. He's like, I don't want to be part of this. They don't know what they're doing. That's it.
Who walked off the set of
What's
Doctor
the guy
Strange?
that plays the villain for
Mads Mikkelsen.
Yes. He walked right out.
I never bothered to see Doctor Strange.
He walked right out, and he's like, "Oh, this is."
I didn't like the lead actor playing Doctor Strange, so I didn't. Bother.
Oh, he's great, Benedict Cumberbatch. Are you crazy?
I can't really forgive him for Star Trek in the Darkness.
Oh, you got to let it go with that. I mean,
he did a terrible job as Khan. He was so wooden. I was like, man, this guy.
Khan. I mean, look. Listen. It was a paycheck. He probably didn't even know what Khan was, and he's like, they wanted to do something completely different. It's not his fault. It's J.J. Abrams' fault.
Yeah.
Blame J.J. Abrams. Don't blame the actor. The actor
he was the
best. Know. Let me tell you something.
J.J. Abrams must have sat there and say, okay, I want you to show no emotion whatsoever. I want you to act like a robot. I mean, he was just really...
Well, look at this. Look, here's the thing, right, with J.J. Abrams. And Chris, you could correct me if I'm wrong, okay? Any points. J.J. Abrams wanted to do the Twilight Zone series of movies, all right?
Yes.
Something happened, and he's not doing it. So now, all of a sudden, he's turning Cloverfield into a 21st century freaking Twilight Zone. Is that a correct assessment?
Yep.
Talk about, like, you know...
Apparently, the next one might not be that movie that we were talking about, God Particle.
God Particle?
It might actually be some World War II movie.
Or it might be that movie, and then there's another movie, right?
Yeah.
So he might have 2 Cloverfields.
I am looking forward to Dunkirk.
Yeah.
Directed by Christopher Nolan. No, I have no interest in seeing that movie.
Oh, my God.
Looks really stupid.
What?
It's actually really good.
Okay, it just from the trailers, it just looked really dumb to me.
Did you see Get Out?
No, I didn't. I don't have a lot of money to go see a lot of movies.
I know.
I'm very conservative with what movies I see. If the trailer doesn't really grab me, I don't bother to go see it. That's why I didn't see Doctor Strange. That's why I didn't see Kong, and why I won't.
Well, I got to tell you that you're probably wrong about Doctor Strange. And if you can get to see it somehow, see it.
I don't know. He ruined it for me with, if they had picked a different actor, I probably would have gone see it.
No, he looks exact. He acts exact. Like, I'm telling you. I have tons of Doctor Strange comics, and he's Doctor Strange.
Oh, yeah. I might watch it on Putlocker. I might watch it on Putlocker. That way I don't have to.
That's good.
Another
thing
I did see Logan. I was slightly disappointed with Logan. I thought it was good. I wouldn't say it was a great movie.
Okay. Chris, you didn't see it, right?
See what?
Logan?
No, I don't really have an interest in Logan.
It was good. I think it was a little bit overhyped. It wasn't great. And the reason why I would say it wasn't great, I don't know if I want, since I don't know.
Spoil the shit out of it. It's okay.
You do? Okay. Well, I just want to be respectful.
Spoil the shit out of it.
Because it's like the last movie in the X-Men franchise before they reboot it. Before they do
it's not getting rebooted, though. At all.
It's not?
In fact, there was a fight. There was an argument with the X-Men camp and the person that does Wolverine, and they says this is an alternate reality because this is not our reality. So it's now
an alternate timeline. It's the last movie. It's the last Patrick Stewart. It's the last Patrick Stewart, Hugh Jackman X-Men movie.
Well, not really, because here's another thing. The next X-Men movie is going to be a sequel to Apocalypse. It's not really a soft reboot. It's going to have something to do with the Phoenix, not maybe totally. And they're going to McAvoy and Fassbender and Jennifer Lawrence are signed on for, I think, 2 or 3 more. Okay,
well, let me explain why I was disappointed with Logan. I won't say it was a terrible movie. It was good. It just wasn't great. I was expecting great, and I got just okay. It's good. It's kind of okay.
It's okay not to like it.
It started off really strong, and then by the second act, it really got slow. Especially when they got to this house, like they're hiding out in this house, and they're having family dinner, and then they're like doing plumbing repairs, and then there's like a guy who owns the water supply to the ranch, and they're fighting over that, and it just seemed to take away from the story. I'm like, okay, they're on the run.
Right.
From.
Well, let me just interject for a second.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Chris, it was like the Terminator. It was a surprise thing. This friggin' person that's Hugh Jackman's secondary.
No, I know. I know how the movie goes.
It's like Terminator. And I'm like, oh, shit. So.
I mean, it was good. It was good. It got a little bit boring in the middle of the movie, and then it picked up a bit at the end, and then I thought the way that Wolverine died was a little bit anticlimactic. And
I still feel he's not dead because his healing factor is slower. Not that it stops working, so he should be.
Yeah, he could come back to life.
Fall right out of the grave because it took too long. Yeah. Because he got more wounded fighting the other Wolverine the first time.
The clone, he was fighting.
That thing was like guts were. It's like he had holes in it and shit. This thing, he just got stabbed.
Well, you find out that I can't remember the doctor's name. The reason why mutants don't exist and he is that he's released like a biological agent into the environment that suppresses mutant abilities, and then he has an antidote, but it only works for a short period.
This was that they can't give birth. Like they won't be able to have any more coming into the world. Not that they stop.
Well, he's cloning mutants, and their abilities are subdued until they get like the green potion, the green injections.
Right.
And that temporarily acts as an antidote to the chemical.
Which I actually thought that Professor X was going to inhabit another body like he did the other movie, but one of those kids was maybe a clone of himself or something.
Yeah.
But that didn't happen. So I was like, oh, all right.
Well, I mean, this is an alternate timeline, so he's actually never inhabited in this timeline. He never inhabited another body because after Days of Future Past, the last stand never happened. Yes. So I would love to see a sequel to that timeline because they left that on a cliffhanger. But
well, there you are. You're going to see the Dark Phoenix saga now start up because that never happened. So it's like rip.
Well, yeah. I hope they do the Dark Phoenix saga right because
they are. Well,
the problem I have with The Last Stand is just the way they portrayed Dark Phoenix was terrible.
Nobody liked The Last Stand.
Yeah.
You like The Last Stand, Chris, or no? Chris, did you see The Last Stand?
Not really. It's there are certain parts of it that I like, but I kind of checked out of that movie. I went to see it in theaters. I checked out of it when Professor X, quote unquote, died.
Yeah.
I was like, okay,
I'm done.
We've killed Cyclops. We've killed Professor X. Yeah. How much more can we possibly do?
Cyclops
and
got killed.
Then I saw the rest of the movie, and I was like,
yeah,
oh.
they didn't stick to the comics because, like, you know, part of what made the Phoenix Saga, the original comics, which I've read, like the graphic novel reprint, so great was the agony that Cyclops felt, you know, having to kill her.
Yeah, he killed him, not Wolverine.
Yeah, and well, combination of him with Professor X, because Professor X Professor X was so powerful telepathically, he couldn't defeat Dark Phoenix outright because she's super powerful telepathically as well.
Blaster, right?
But he could hold her at bay.
So he could blast her, so Cyclops could just blast
he could slow her down. And so what Professor X did was he used his telepathic abilities to hold her at bay, to give Cyclops time to blast her away.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of the tragedy of the whole thing. And the way they did it, I mean, Dark Phoenix consumed entire planets. She was going around the galaxy consuming entire planets.
Well, the Dark Phoenix,
yeah.
I got to say, got her revenge because when the Phoenix Force possessed Cyclops really killed Professor X in the comic.
Okay, I haven't read that story.
The Red Skull ate his brains, which again,
what?
The Red Skull became. Yes, it's true. Oh yes. Wouldn't it be cool?
Why would the Red Skull eat his brains?
Put his brains in a plate, ate it, and became Onslaught. So
really?
Yeah. Yes. Oh, really? Really?
Wow.
Yeah.
That sounds like something insane that the Red Skull would do.
Yeah, that's why Captain America is so.
That was just like in Old Man Logan, the Red Skull kills Captain America, and he dons Captain America's costume and shield, and he becomes like a twisted, dark version of Captain America.
Yeah, you got Deadpool carrying the dead bodies of like the Hulk and Iron Man and everything, like in body bags. It's crazy.
Yeah, so he's like Red Skull, Captain America. And then I love how Wolverine, Old Man Logan Wolverine, takes Captain America's shield and decapitates Red Skull with it.
Yeah, well, this now Old Man Logan's in the Marvel Universe because all the other universes are technically wrecked. So he's in there's going to be X-23 and Old Man Logan in the X-Men team. And Marvel is hinting at the return of Wolverine being freed from the adamantium shell. Although it may not be him, it may be his son. We don't know what the hell is going to happen. It's like a crazy thing. So they're probably going to do a Pandora thing on us too.
Yeah, I really wish it had the balls to do Old Man Logan like the Marvel miniseries with Red Skull. That would have been really dark and twisted, but it would have been good.
I think Marvel Comics Universe 616 is overcrowded now because it's like refugees from all these different universes are just chilling in there. And it's like Miles Morales, go back home, and everybody else go back home because there's too many.
Okay, well, I'm not familiar with – is that –
well, it's like Chris.
That's the universe. That's the name of the universe that Old Man Logan is in.
No, Marvel. The real Marvel universe is 616, right?
Okay, I didn't.
But after Secret Wars and all the universes get destroyed, Reed Richards stood behind with Sue Richards to rebuild every single universe that was destroyed, which is countless. So, but he can't rebuild it the exact way it was. So that's the problem. So he's trying, and there's a lot of universes where the people are just in the Marvel universe now because 616, because there's no universe to go back to. So it's crazy. So, that's why it's like, oh, could Captain America help me? I don't know why nobody says which one. There's like 4 or 3 or whatever. It's like how many Thors, it's like crazy. It's like a club. You could just have the Hulk team.
Well, you're dealing with parallel universes. Yeah, there's an infinite possibilities.
Well, no, it's not parallel. This is the real Marvel universe now. But the thing is that and the USA Avengers was all comprised of like Iron Man type of thing, and Captain America's mixed, and it didn't work. Nobody wants.
Well,
That's
Marvel's trying to do shake up again.
They failed,
they're trying to experiment, and they failed. I mean, something in the mid '90s that happened where where they made Iron Man a murderer, and he was like a supervillain for a while.
Yeah, I don't like.
And there was like a teenage Tony Stark from a parallel universe that had to
stupid.
come and kill the other evil Tony Stark. That got really screwed up, and then I'm glad that they retconned and did away with all that.
Well, the only way they did that was Franklin Richards just fixed it with his powers, and he's like, oh yeah, Tony Stark, here he is. There was no real explanation.
So I mean, Marvel's going through a similar shakeup that they did in the '90s because of declining readership. I'm not sure where it'll go.
Wow.
They really got to reduce their prices. I mean, they've already reduced it severely.
Dude, this is $10, dude, and DC raised their comics. This is $10, and
I'm never gonna buy it. No, thank you.
$10, man. I mean, and Silver Sable's alive in this one, by the way. Chris, this is how convenient.
Well, about a year and a half ago, and you know how much it's worth? It's worth about 50 cents. You pay $10 and you got a comic book that's worth 50 cents.
Let's just hope they erased the Mephisto deal, and then I'll be happy. But anyway, all right, we're gonna get out of here.
Okay.
No, we got a time limit. It's gonna drop any second. I'm sorry, Chris.
Okay.
Steampunk. All right, guys.
I see. Less than a minute.
Take care. Bye for now.